All right, let's poke a little fun at science. Richard Dawkins is probably one of the world's best known biologists, and he claimed that Darwin allowed him to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist. And of course, he's talking about the origin of species and claimed to explain life uh, by evolution. And that, of course, is defined as natural selection acting on random mutations. If you stop and think about it for a minute, selecting what? Mutating what? Ironically, Darwin did not even talk about the first cell. He didn't even mention it in his book. And when he did mention it later in correspondence, he just believed that life evolved spontaneously out of a warm pond. And Dawkins claimed to take that a little further and say, well, maybe there was some clay structures and they formed the basis for these protocells, and eventually uh, life started in this warm pond that way, in that um, crystalline structures formed around the clay. But the thing is, that's not what you call a theory, it's what you call assertion. A theory is based on observable facts. An assertion is based on merely saying something is so. He talks about early self-replicators, but we have no way of knowing what those self-replicators would have looked like. The closest we can come to is actually a minimal cell. Now, the minimal cell that I'm thinking about was developed over um, about 25 years and involved 200 man hours, 200 million man hours to develop. A huge undertaking by a whole team of scientists. And this is Venter. You can look that up on the internet if you like. And what they got the cell down to was just over 1 million base pairs in a DNA, 473 genes. Now, can you imagine a little clay frame making something like that? See, the problem is, in order to make a minimal cell, you have to have a cell membrane, you have to have DNA, you have to have RNA, and you have to have proteins. The only problem is, in order to make a cell membrane, you need to have a cell membrane. In order to make DNA, you have to have DNA. Now, RNA comes from DNA, and protein comes from RNA. And so you're basically in a chicken and egg situation. Which came first? You can't say one or the other came first because you need all of them in order to have a minimal living self-replicating cell. So, so much of the origin of life stuff really comes down to an assertion. And so while Dawkins can claim that evolution allows him to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist, does not allow him to be an intellectually honest one. Poking a little fun at science. Have a great day.